Okay, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're dissecting something that goes way beyond your basic driving rules. We're looking at the literal anatomy of grip on Norwegian roads. Driving in Norway, it isn't just about getting from point A to point B. When you're dealing with these wild, rapid shifts between heavy rain, slush, black ice, and then suddenly dry asphalt, well, understanding your equipment is literally a critical survival mechanism. It's the absolute foundation that supports the government's Vision Zero goal, which is, of course, a future with absolutely zero road fatalities or serious injuries. And honestly, it all starts right where the rubber meets the road.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover tread depth and safety, navigating the winter season, rules for studded tires, snow chains, and extreme grip, and we'll wrap up with your ultimate driving responsibility. Don't worry, we're going to break all these dense legal requirements down logically.
Part 1. Tread depth and safety, the physics of hydroplaning.
So to prevent hydroplaning, which is that terrifying moment where water builds up under your tire and you completely lose steering control, Norway has strict legal minimums. But, and this is crucial, there's a massive difference between what's legal and what's actually safe. For summer tires, the absolute bare minimum legal tread depth is 1.6 millimeters across at least 75% of the tire width. But look at the recommendation. Safety organizations strongly push for at least 3 millimeters just to keep your grip in heavy rain. Now, for winter tires on your standard passenger cars, Category B vehicles, that legal minimum jumps to 3 millimeters. But again, expert safety recommendations for driving on ice and snow, they always exceed that legal minimum. They want you sitting at a solid 4 to 5 millimeters.
Moving right along to Part 2, navigating the winter season. More than just tread. Let's see how this all builds together.
First off, how do you actually know if your tread is legal if you don't have some professional measuring tool handy? Well, let's demystify a bit of technical jargon right now. TWI, or tread wear indicators. These things are incredibly handy. They're basically just small, raised bumps molded directly inside the main longitudinal grooves of your tire. You can literally just run your finger along the groove to find them. And here's the trick. When your tire tread wears down so much that it's completely level with those bumps, that's it. Your tire has hit the legal limit, and you absolutely must replace it before you make another trip.
But, tread depth isn't everything. Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is this simple 4-digit code, 1222. See, rubber is a natural material, and it hardens over time thanks to sunlight and temperature swings. And hard rubber, it completely loses its ability to bite into the ice. You'll find a 4-digit code just like this stamped on the sidewall of any tire, and it tells you the exact production date. So 1222 just means the tire was made in the 12th week of 2022. Because the Norwegian climate is so incredibly harsh, winter tires usually need replacing after just 4 to 5 seasons. Yep, even if the tread depth looks perfectly fine and totally legal, the rubber itself might just be way too hard to give you any real friction.
And just a quick aside on non-studded winter tires, or pig-free Vinterdek, technically, there are 0 calendar restrictions on these. They are perfectly legal to use year-round. But doing so is a fundamentally terrible idea. Why? Well, winter tires are engineered with this super specific rubber compound meant to stay soft when it's freezing out. If you take them out on hot summer asphalt, that rubber turns into mush. It gets excessively soft. And that drastically increases your braking distance. It makes cornering feel totally unstable. And honestly, it just chews up the tire incredibly fast.
All right, Part 3, rules for studded tires, calendar restrictions, and city fees.
So studded tires, or piggedekk, they offer unmatched grip on hard-packed ice. It's like having claws on your car. But because they absolutely chew up the asphalt and cause massive particulate pollution, their use is heavily, heavily restricted. And this brilliantly illustrates how Norwegian law handles it by actually splitting the country up regionally. Down in South and Central Norway, you can only run studded tires from November 1st until the first Sunday after Easter Monday. But if you head up north to the colder counties, Nordland, Troms, and Finnmark, the winter period gets a big extension. Up there, you can rock studded tires from October 16th all the way to April 30th. Outside of those exact dates, studded tires are strictly prohibited. Well, unless you get hit by some freak unexpected late-season snowstorm that absolutely demands them. Now, if you are using studded tires during the legal winter season, you need to be hyper-aware of studded tire zones. To fight off that pollution we talked about, major cities, we're talking Oslo, Bergen, Stavanger, and Trondheim, they slap you with a piggedekk-gebyr, which is a studded tire fee. If you drive into these city limits, you are required to pay for a daily, monthly, or seasonal permit, usually just right on a mobile app or at an electronic terminal. And trust me, you do not want to forget to buy this permit because you will get hit with a pretty massive fine. There's also a super strict consistency rule when it comes to studs. Basically, you cannot mix and match. No way. If you decide to put studded tires on your car, they have got to go on all four wheels. Mixing studded with non-studded tires creates these seriously deadly imbalances in how your car handles and brakes, so it's entirely prohibited. Interestingly enough, though, if you're in the middle of transitioning seasons and you're running non-studded winter tires, you actually are allowed to swap them out for summer tires one by one if you absolutely have to. But of course, having a uniform set is always your safest bet.
Moving on to part 4, snow chains and extreme grip, conquering the mountains.
So, let's talk about extreme winter scenarios where even the very best studded tires just give up, and heavy-duty traction becomes an absolute legal necessity. You know, we usually associate snow chains with massive heavy trucks, right? But they are highly relevant for standard Category B drivers too. Now, there isn't some blanket law saying passenger cars must carry chains at all times, but if you're crossing a notorious mountain pass, like Hardangervidda in the dead of winter, you are personally and entirely responsible for making sure your vehicle can actually handle it. If the Public Roads Administration or the police pull you over, take a look and assess that your tires lack grip and you don't happen to have snow chains sitting in the trunk to fix the problem, you're going to get fined or they will literally ban you from continuing your journey.
If you do find yourself needing chains, here are the actionable steps you gotta know. Step 1, identify your drive wheels. Sounds simple, but that's where the chains absolutely must go to give you traction. Step 2, fit them right. Front wheels if you drive a front-wheel drive car, back wheels for rear-wheel drive. Got a four-wheel drive? Definitely check your manual first. And step 3, and this is probably the best piece of practical wisdom here, practice fitting them in a dry, well-lit garage before you ever leave for your trip. Because I promise you, you do not want to be figuring out how to untangle freezing cold metal chains on the side of a pitch-black snowy road while traffic is just flying past you.
And finally, part 5, your ultimate driving responsibility, weather supersedes the calendar.
So the crucial point here is this exact quote from the regulations. You must always have sufficient grip for the current road conditions. That right there, that's the golden rule of Norwegian driving. The weather will always supersede the calendar. I mean, if the law says the winter tire period starts November 1st, but a massive snowstorm rolls in during September, those calendar dates aren't going to protect you. You are legally required to have the right equipment for that unexpected September snow. And to actually meet this responsibility, driver awareness is just key. Take a look at this number, 175. That is the National Traffic Information Service in Norway. During those really tricky transition months, October, November, March, April, it is essentially your mandatory daily duty to assess the weather before you even turn the ignition. Checking the forecast and actually calling 175 for road reports, it's an absolutely essential tool to make sure your vehicle is legally and practically equipped for the route ahead.
All right, let's do a rapid-fire summary. If you are studying for the Norwegian theory test right now, you are definitely going to want to commit this to memory. Summer tires, 1.6 millimeters is the legal minimum, 3 millimeters recommended. Winter tires, 3 millimeters minimum, 4 to 5 millimeters recommended. Studded tires in the south, valid from November 1st to the Sunday after Easter. Up in the north, October 16th to April 30th. Absolutely no mixing of tire types. And above all else, the driver is always responsible for having sufficient grip for the weather no matter what the calendar says.
So why do we obsess over all these tiny millimeters and specific calendar dates? Well, it's not just about avoiding a steep fine or, just passing a driving test. Proper tire maintenance is quite literally the single most effective way to prevent accidents on slippery surfaces. By actually adhering to these standards, you are actively supporting the Vision Zero goal. You're out there helping to eliminate road fatalities and serious injuries in Norway. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on before your next drive. Go ahead and look out your window right now. Really think about the tread on your car, the age of the rubber, and the exact weather conditions out there today. Is your vehicle truly equipped for what the Norwegian roads are going to throw at you today? Stay safe, stay prepared, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.